Listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. And the roads are very busy with people this evening. All the drunkards are going somewhere to be intoxicated. Traveling to and fro across the United States to engage in public intox and driving under the influence or driving while intoxicated or whatever else there is. Or under the influence. I think I said that. Yeah, I took a nap for like a half hour. I was like crushed. It's out in the sun all day, or most of the day. I think I took a couple other naps today. When it gets like this allergy season, I sleep about, maybe 6 hours a night, but I'll have like a couple half-hour naps during the day, and it recharges. Actually, those are the time periods that I actually receive the most from heaven. And it isn't like, oh, so you're kind of not sleeping and you're having visions. No, not that much. It's that thing where I go to sleep and I wake up with like a prophecy. I don't know. Maybe it's in the Bible, something about springtime. I don't know. For some reason, that works the best for getting prophecy. I mean, it works. I mean, I just start speaking it, and like, there's some long, drawn-out process. But it's obvious. It's obvious prophecy. It obviously applies. So I'm doing some security camera work. I made my own, what do they call that? Dash cam, using a security camera and some Velcro and a piece of wood. Kind of like this thing I'm wearing, the belt I'm wearing now. Kind of similar construction. Definitely common engineer sapper thing. Oh, so last night, somebody's trying to speak through me now, and God made me let it through so I can remember. So what happens is my screen goes black, completely blank, and I couldn't get it to go back on. But a couple of their people were around me, and they must have cursed me because they were trying to speak through me at the same time. So they were trying to cause a hot mic is what they were doing. And, it's probably a combination of them and Satan. Like I said, they can curse you and down you and may not be specifically cursing you to something, but taking down your intrinsic metaphysical spiritual projection, their projection and your protection. So whatever they're possessing people to, it increases. So again, that's how it's being done. It's metaphysics. It's spiritual. You'll see physical things happening off of that, but it's all based in metaphysics. And that's why they don't want people speaking out. They're just so rude, about it, because they're rich, and they don't want you to understand how easy it is to be rich and why you're poor, because they're cursing you. Trump calls you a sucker for that reason. Although I hear one of his spokespeople or something was making fun of this. I'm a fan of DeSantis or a fan of Trump's people. Neither one. I'm not taking sides on that. But he kind of pulled Buttigieg in. I guess I said his name right. I don't know. Speaking of Buttigieg, did you find anything more about Lauren Spear? Now, she's a cursed person for all that to happen. The weird part is she's set up to have amnesia. That's a perfect scenario, if she was hitting her head and she's drunk, real drunk, she could have popped into amnesia. She could be sitting there on some traveling with a migrant farmer, thinking she's, Central American. But I don't know. I saw some weird stuff, and it's hard to do. Not because, again, I told you years ago. I guess it was in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. They would say it's not the inmates; it's the people I work with. They mess everything up. The inmates are easy. So again, they curse me while I'm doing the work, so it gets a little difficult as far as some whack stuff in there. I got to try to work through. I guess you do too because you work with them, but your lives are up higher and all of that, so it's a little bit different. It's kind of nice, a little warmer tonight. I liked it a little cooler, which is foreshadowing of the month to come. Not too bad. I like the weather here. I wish I'd have returned to Kansas sooner, but I just couldn't get there. They were killing me. So again, what's happening to me was happening to Paul and all them. I'm not trying to travel really. So, it happened to Paul. It happened to all the disciples. Peter, it happened to Peter, Andrew, all of them. This lady's got or dude or lady and dude. They live on the top floor. They actually probably have they're actually covering their view a little bit. Oh, maybe because they're a parent. I don't know. They have a lot of hanging plants and stuff. Must have been living there a long time. Looks nice. Looks like it's kept up. It's like one of the larger rooms. If they only had one bed up there, then you'd have a lot of space. But they have this probably great view because the side of this extended stay overlooks the highway, but it's like a valley. And they're up on the third floor, so probably have a great view of that. That's probably why they built that building on that angle, maybe. Oh, well. So I had to send some of the cameras back. The one it can't even take a little bit of warmth in the vehicle, and it's the image was messed up. It was really a lame camera. I sent it back, and I feel guilty, so I already replaced it with one. I don't know if I actually need it, but it's a good hidden type camera, and I can stash it just about anywhere. It's not real small. It's not one of those little ones, but it's like a square. It's a cube, and it has some nice features. One of the features I like on security cameras is where you can speed up the playback. And I scored today. I bought a couple of new ones, and that company is coming along. I can't remember. I wanted to contact the company. There's one thing they're missing on that. They really modified it great, but it's missing one thing, and I can't remember. It's one of my companies I'm affiliated with. They just weren't building things right. So I've been thinking to them over the last probably 4 or 5 years now. They look like they, and I when they do build it, I do want to buy it. Even if I'm not money to buy it, I do want to buy it because they built it, So they did a good job, great job actually. I can't remember what it's missing. It's missing like one thing, and I can't remember what it is. But it's great. They modified one of their lines and called it something else, but it's similar but different. It's really nice, the features. So it's real nice. But there's like playback. You can actually, on the playback, you can actually take it up to 8 times. That's like amazing. And most only let you go to about 4 times. So you can fast forward while you're looking at it, which is great for law enforcement work. That's my new dash cam. But I actually have another one of those cameras. Actually, no, that one's not my dash cam. That one's inside now, right? I swapped it out with another camera. I wanted to take my older cameras and put them inside. Or put them outside. I didn't want to take one of my newer cameras. That one doesn't have fast forward, but I do have another one I could use it as fast forward. I could just swap it out. I had a, well, actually that one has a different mount, but a couple of them have pretty standard mounts. You just twist them off and then twist them on. So like I needed a mount, so if I was in an apartment, I could find it because it's in all my junk. And I was like, so I had me buy that camera, and then I'm like, well, I don't want to put this in my car because it's kind of. So it's like, well, look at the mount. Got you the 2 mounts you needed. That was pretty interesting how it worked. And I didn't have the drill bit the right size, but I was able to find some nice, very sharp self-tapping screws, and it worked real well. So I'm enjoying my walks. Wish I was somewhere real so I could walk through like Olathe and broadcast with my cross. You know what I hate when you see somebody, and it doesn't really matter, and it's like good that I can't tell, but there's somebody that's I think's trans, but might be a woman. So it's kind of weird. I was just wondering. I hate that happens. Most you no, you can't tell. What am I talking about? People think they can tell, but what happens is the ones that are very, very feminine and very passable, you can't tell. It's the ones that are like half to 3/4 go, oh, see, I can tell. So yeah, it's pretty weird where we are right now. And Republicans are trying to reverse everything. And, I think it's going to backfire. It's going to implode at a certain part. It's kind of a point. It's kind of working. And, they're part of why inflation's out there and all that. They're not going to let it go until and they'll like get back to me. Well, I guess that's just how it is. We own the businesses. But again, they're a lockout system. And it's like a mafia. If they don't want you in business, then you're not in business. And then why do we want business? Because you're criminals, you're mafia. That's that simple. It's like, it's like, what's that? Is it Don Corleone or whatever it is? Or was it Scarface? Whatever it was, where they go to they get married, they're in church. And then, like, there's a hit while they're in church. I was in church. I didn't do it. That's pretty much your conservative Christians. But they were in church doing it because they do spycraft and all that. Again, all those terms, I'm ripping them down and destroy them, the gaslighting. I mean, it was nice to find the term to help people understand, but it just dumbs it down. And that's probably why they resurface those words and statements about, gaslighting, pranking, crazy making. It's really spycraft and criminal operation of a organized crime and racketeering nature. Don't you like when I say that? Don't it would be great if I could be in court and say that, like be an attorney, like instead of killing my life. But I'm saying it about all of you, right? So you don't like it. I'd have a lot of power in court. If I'd have been an attorney. I still could have been an attorney when I left the government. It's just they wouldn't let my life be. When I woke up and I could speak like better than I ever could, my stuff goes down. My vocabulary and how well I speak from them. Not only the physical movement, there's also metaphysical and psychological. Oh, that's right. Okay, thanks, God. Psychological. There's something I want to talk about psychological. In the middle. Some people waking up. That was the sign there. think it was a Native American spirit. Well, if I had money, I'd probably travel. I don't think I have a lot of work I still have to do, so it'd be a good idea to travel. But what happened, I knew what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on. Like in 2007, I started seeing the value ends, but I didn't get the message to just, jump in something and go. Now they're called, they changed to Wood Spring Suites some years ago, but that was probably the best cue I ever received. 2007, just get it and go, but never got there. So it was really nice to connect to the CEO with his news article about a CEO, and she's a good-looking woman. But besides that, she hired some Gen Zers, and she's noticing things. What up? How you doing? She's noticing things about them, and that's what I was saying about the future. Like they're talking about all these things that are uncomfortable about younger people, and the guy was a Gen Zer getting out of his car when I said that. Anyway, hey. See, that's how I'm supposed to be. I was like that all the time before, and they killed it. I know it still happens, but not like as much around me. It's a prank from God, but that's like a real prank, not like a goofy prank, like a kill you prank. It's not really a prank then, right? But she was really into, how they're different. They like a lot of feedback, and they're just very knowledgeable. Again, I was like that. I mean, I studied encyclopedias as a model for the future Gen Zers and millennials and all that. But I never like, I mean? I was humble. I never like, I'm intelligent. I was just this, I'm trying to be like Johnny Carson. Like I speak and then I laugh because there's nobody here to laugh. Like I'd have a wife, she'd laugh. She'd give me what is that guy's name? What's Johnny Carson's sidekick? I can't remember his name. I'm gonna have to look it up at some point. Like if my wife was here, she could look it up. So I just, there's a woman, I guess she stays here sometimes, and other times she sleeps in her truck. Again, somebody ended up homeless and somewhat, and I don't know what her income is, but she doesn't have enough. She said for a while life worked, and again, it worked for all of us for a little while. I mean, not rich, but it wasn't as crazy, right? And no, we don't believe that we should do what you want just so it's not so crazy. Again, take down the whole planet, let everybody suffer if you're going to keep doing that stuff, all of you. But it was where she said she had a trailer, a camper, that's what it was, and she could afford the rent on the land, and the utilities were included. And she just, hooked that up. And at a certain point, it just completely fell apart at the seams. And she got a job as a caretaker, and then that guy died, and that was it. So now she's all messed up. She has some income. I didn't want to get too in depth, but one of the worst things that happened. I mean, I love dogs, but the one thing it did get through was said, no dogs until you're back in a settled life, and that never happened. So I, because dogs make it difficult. It would just be so much more difficult with a dog. Now, I wish I had that Jake dog. It was a great dog. My life may have been different. I guess the fact is if they hadn't attacked, then Jake would still be here, and I'd have a normal life and all of that. So again, they like to put it on their victims, like, you did something wrong. It's all them. That's why they hate victim consciousness, quote unquote, but that's what the Bible's about. So you might as well just walk away from Christianity and call yourselves the temple of Satan because you're Antichrist. Jesus loves when I say this. How do I know that? He just said that. I love when you say that. Or stuff like that. See, Jesus has been sitting back for years and nobody's been saying it because they don't say it right either. Like, okay, say somebody doesn't know anything about the Bible, but they know a couple little things. They go, "You're this, you're that," and they go back and forth. The people that are the church and the people that aren't the church, and they're both just doing the wrong thing. So, to have an educated view on what the Bible actually says is very important. And anybody that might know it won't say it if they're in a position where they are a preacher or something because they're afraid of losing their worldly life. So I had to get over to my storage unit and cut a couple pieces of wood. So let's fix that curse. Nobody cuts people. So I had to cut a people still there. Whoa! I'm getting bigger. See if we take it out. Yeah. You can call it the rest all you like. It's from God. It's natural. I'm in control of it because I let it happen, but I'm not in control of it because God does it. It's a nice young lady that works here, but she's like, I just, maybe it's because she's a millennial or something, but she's like, she'll call you, she's like, thanks, love. I'm like, ooh. No, I don't say that. But she says it to like a lot of people. I'm like, does she work for them? And then I know she said it to other people because she don't work for them. That's something they would do. Get a woman to like be real close to you and inspire you to get closer. And I'm not saying hitting on a woman or nothing, but just keep trying to, hang in there and see what friendship or whatever could be. When it's just, it's just a scam. Whew, nice to be out walking a little bit, but I wish I'd have had another cup of coffee today, and it'd be like at the end of that cup right now. I know I had some more to speak about tonight, but I can't remember. It was earlier in the day. I came up with a couple things. I got to start keeping notes. Oh, I know what to say. All right, I got what I was supposed to say. Okay, I went to put headphones on, and they were great, but they were screwed up. I mean, it was like so weird. I had to break through a block, and then when I broke through the block, it was still very uncomfortable. It was or not uncomfortable. When it became comfortable enough to wear them, it was very difficult to wear them. So they must have psychologically operated me along the way. I can't tell you how they did it and what part of it was, but I used to wear headphones all the time. So if I decided to speak out, it wouldn't look weird. But they took my headphones, and it wasn't just that. They took my headphones and pretty much put them out of production. I'm sure it's them. And they also you couldn't get them for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that. They were always easy to get. Great company. It's still a great company, but mine are gone. Mine are almost gone. But these are great too. It's just a little light. I mean, they're just phenomenal. You don't even have them on, but you have to be careful because one will fall out and you'll be so light you won't notice it. If I were to ride a bicycle, I wouldn't use those. But they're very comfortable and they're really nice for walking, just general use. The sound is close to the ones I had, but not as full. The other ones had more rounded. And these aren't like trebly or anything, so they're not bad like that. It's just not the same kind of sound. Believe me, they spend a lot of money doing what they're doing to me. They don't care because they're all part of that money thing. Like anything they spend, like they get super PAC money, they get government contracts, they get something. It's like Trump, all the Russians stay at his hotels. That's how they pay him. Told you that years ago. Tiring. It's almost 11. Probably be asleep early tonight. I usually don't get to sleep till about 12, 1 o'clock. With the 24-hour Walmarts, let's think those back. You don't project. It would be nice if we had a 24-hour Walmart. I mean, it's a ripoff. Just keep thinking about 24-hour Walmart. See if we can bring them back on. I mean, it's almost a 24. It opens what, like 6, 7. They close at 11. But it'd be nice, like when I get done here, I go get some ice cream from Walmart. Instead, I have to go. You go to like Walgreens, it's like $10 for a quart of ice cream. I mean, insane. It probably took me about 3 years to get back to the headphones. And actually, it only took me about probably 2 years to get back to the headphones. But once I got there, it happened pretty quick. I was aware of what it was. Well, because God was able to tell me. But, when I was growing up, there were people that spoke out. Never thought even twice about it. So again, God already took me through those paces. And I respected those people, so there's no place for anybody to disrespect me. And you're causing it anyway. I have to operate the world constantly. Around me, I have to actually speak all day just to flatten their curses. That's what it's from. I mean, it's not like if I could actually live a normal life, I probably wouldn't have to speak so much. But then again, it's a metaphysical, right? And I'm right at that point where I told you everything was metaphysical. I'm standing maybe 10 feet from that location. Back around to that. So New Mexico's having a little bit of trouble, I can see in the news. Well, keep your nose out of other people's businesses. Or business. So I'm probably only going to walk a half hour tonight. It's just been a long day. Trying to figure a few things out. Project-wise. I'll get back to once I get my vehicle registered in Kansas, I'll get back to my other project. I was going to go tomorrow, but I forgot it's Memorial Day. And I got to still call LexisNexis. They're blocking that because they listen in on the phone, and they knew that the insurance person told me to call LexisNexis because they messed up, just happened to mess up whose fault the accident was. So I'm actually paying too much insurance, even though it was my fault. It was only a quarter of my fault. And I don't even think there was just no way. I mean, in reality, there's no way it could have been my fault because there's no way to avoid it. The only way to avoid it was for me not even to start driving. Like to just sit there another 30 seconds. I mean, there's no other way. The person she's a little hoopty-sized vehicle. I'm in a van. She came up right beside me and cut her wheel into me. There's nothing else I could do. It isn't like she was in my peripheral vision. I bet you they don't even know. I bet you they didn't even know which direction. Actually, what am I talking about? It's a setup. It was an absolute setup in Texas. It was the people I speak about. The way it went, it was surely. And they sent all the, the damaging hints that it was them trying to, freak my head out because they lock up like another 1,000 people a year off of what they're doing, and they kill another 500 through, natural causes or suicide by cop. They just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.